It's Rick with the Rock Bottom Outreach, and it is Real Talk Thursday. And I'm doing it on Wednesday night. And what am I doing? I'm doing schoolwork. If you don't know, and you weren't here at the beginning of when I went back to school, I am a adult college student at Colorado Christian University. I'm getting my 2-year degree in biblical studies. And you got to dig it, man. I was never a good student. And I'm not saying I'm a good student now. But you know what? I have a readiness to learn. And so here I am. I'm setting up. I got the essentials of good college schoolwork. I've got a soft drink. I have bean dip. I have the Fritos. I mean, what else could you want? And so I'm working on my homework. And I'm about to finish with a English class, actually English composition. If you can imagine being 48 years old and then having to wrap your mind around what they call APA writing styles, things I've never heard of in my life. And then I'm not even sitting in the classroom. And so it is a challenge. It's a huge challenge. But here's the deal. I have always said I wish I would have gotten my degree. But you know what? After rock bottom and I began to look back at my life and all that God did for me, I mean, that with Him all things were possible, I'm like, maybe this is possible. Maybe with the help of God I can get my degree. And so what did I do? I signed up. I actually made the dean's list once. And that's huge. But here's where I'm going with this. Man, there comes a time that we either believe God's word or we don't. We says, with God, all things are possible. Well, either you believe it or you don't. But here's part of the problem, is the verbiage we use, okay? We talk ourselves out of doing stuff. For example, you know, I might want to get it. Maybe I've thought about it. Man, but you got to stop talking about it, and there's a time you got to be about it. I don't care that I'm 48 years old and I'm still trying to get my degree. And yes, I will walk that stage. But when I started, I said this: I will finish. When I start, I will not stop until I get my degree. And I mean that. But I also realize I cannot do it on my own. I have to utilize people around me for encouragement, to their wisdom. I've got to rely on God's word, especially when I'm struggling and I'm tired and I don't want to do this. Or maybe I'm afraid I can't do it and it's new. Folks, God's word is there for you to utilize in your life. It is a standard by which we live. But you've got to apply it to your life. If it just lays there, it means nothing. And I'm talking about bigger than going back to college. Man, I'm talking about maybe it's overcoming drugs or alcohol. Maybe your marriage is on the rocks and you're like, it's never going to get any better. That's not applying God's word, folks. That's not even believing God's word that all things are possible. And so a lot of times it starts with you. It starts with you. What would you tell your kid? When your kid walks in and said, man, I'm going to flunk that test, and you'd be like, well, that's not a good attitude. You got to believe you will. What about you? Look in the mirror. Think about what you're telling your kids. My deal was this. It was hard for me to tell my kids, you need to stay in school and get a degree, when yours truly did not do that. I didn't. And so here I am, 48 years old, and I will walk that stage. It's in Lakewood, Colorado, and I'm going to invite you now, when I graduate, you're welcome to come to Colorado and watch me walk across the stage and in rock bottom fashion, be the loudest group in the entire building. Come on. I don't know what it is right now that you're not doing. Maybe it's teaching a Bible study class. Maybe it's to be a missionary. But there's a time, man, you got to start putting God's word to the test, to trusting it that God is who He says He is, and stop making excuses. Stop making excuses. It's Rick with Rock Bottom Outreach. It's been Real Talk Thursday. Have a great day.